Hello there, I'm going to speak to you about something that came up very strongly in the most recent Initiation Universal Soul Retrieval training event, and it's the words integrity and unbending intent. And it's something that I'm so grateful for shamanic practice, because what I find is that when you take on these qualities, it just has a knock-on effect in all areas of your life. And there's an exercise I gave the people to do before the end of the retreat, and that's what I want to focus in on. What I suggested they do is to spend a complete day where they are at all times out of integrity. So the purpose for this day is whatever appointments and arrangements they have to deliberately arrive late, and anything that they promise to do, deliberately not do, so that they get to feel what it's like for them to be out of integrity, and then equally important to be really closely observing how the world responds to them in that state. And after having a day of tasting life being out of integrity, then the following day to spend the day entirely in integrity, whereby every appointment that they make, they turn up on time. And I'm going to give you a little hint about that in a moment. And the other really significant thing to do is every single thing that they promise to do, they deliver 100%. By tasting these two extremes, it's possible to understand why shamans choose to live from the place of integrity. And that then brings me to the qualities of unbending intent. Unbending intent is where you develop your intention to do what you're going to do, which is to be the person who you say that you are, to literally be your word. And with unbending intent, what happens is that you take massive action to make sure that everything that you say you're going to do that day, you do. So here's my little hint about timekeeping. It makes such a difference to how you are perceived in the world by your timekeeping. So supposing there is a person and their issue is they tend to arrive late. Now what they will have done is they will have created a self-cursing situation for themselves, whereby they tell themselves a story in their heads repeatedly about turning up late. There's a really simple thing you can do for this, which is, supposing you know it takes you half an hour to get somewhere, take an hour, actually set off an hour early, knowing it's going to take you half an hour to get there, so that by the time that you arrive, you know that you're early, which then gives you what I'm going to call the gift of time. Imagine arriving for somewhere before the stated time. However long it is, whether it's half an hour or 10 minutes or even 2 minutes, what you can do is you can use that time to be fully in the moment, becoming aware of your body, aware of your environment, and having a sense of appreciation and love for yourself for turning up early. And then to use that time to think about anything you might want to think about, plan anything you might want to plan about, or just to simply be and enjoy that state of readiness for the next appointment you've got for that day. It's extraordinary how such simple actions can have really big repercussions for your life, the way you're perceived and the way you feel about yourself. So that's something I certainly recommend the experience. And there's another quality I'm being invited to talk about, which I call the quality of the observer. This happened to me at a very particular moment in my life when I arrived 2 minutes late for a train, and I knew I had 1.5 hours in which to wait. And I could see 2 rows before me, one road, as I could spend this hour and a half feeling pissed off, angry, upset and irritable that I'd arrived late for the train. I could be focused on the past, I could judge myself, I could tell myself off, I could go into all those states of being which would be entirely unproductive for me. So I had an hour and a half, so I probably gave myself about 2 minutes to do that, got incredibly bored and thought, right, okay, what can I do in the remaining time? I could have chosen to distract myself by getting a magazine or a newspaper, or a book, or any one of those things, and yet I was not called to do that at all. What I thought I would do is I thought I would do something which is well known, and people call it people watching. So I spent an hour and a half standing up on the platform there with my rucksack, and I just watched and observed closely all the people living their lives. And the more I did it, the more fascinated I became, and in the end the hour and a half went by just like that. I had a thoroughly good time watching people being people. And here's the thing, when you slip into the moment of the present time and watch people, the judgments slip away and you can just observe them being who they are. And it's really quite a remarkable thing to do. So I recommend that if you ever get a period of time where suddenly there's this gap of time where you don't know what to do with it, slip into observation mode if there are people around. And if it's just you, then you can do the other fascinating observation. You can slip into observation of yourself, observing your thoughts, observing any opinions and judgments that arise as you are simply being present with yourself. And this is also something that will give you a lot of information about yourself and about who you are. And I guess this is the points that I was speaking about in the film previously that I didn't really nail, so I want to nail it now, which is the greatest mystery for you is actually you and who you are. And whenever you go on the healing path, you will discover more and more about yourself. It could be that you book a healing with me or someone else that sets you on the path. It could be you engage in healing practices for yourself to heal yourself. But whatever healing practice you engage in is so helpful for you to get to know who you are. And this then brings up the question about the light and the dark side. And as I hope that we're all aware of now, our purpose is to integrate them both. And any negative situation that arises is an opportunity for growth. And I want to give a really simple one, how a human being can grow. And this is a very personal one because I get to experience this lots and lots of times. Most people who know me know that I'm a person who likes to be warm. So this is it. Supposing I'm outside and it's a cold day and I feel cold. What I'm then dealing with is a sensation which is causing some resistance in me, which is I'm feeling cold, and I then get the impulse to warm up. And let's make this incredibly simple. So I get the impulse to warm up, I decide, right, I'm going to go home. I go home, I put the heating on, I put some extra clothes on, I make a hot meal, and the next thing I know, I feel warm and comfortable inside. This is such a simple allegorical way to understand what transforming negativity is. It's becoming present to some experience which is actually something that you find difficult to deal with, and then taking appropriate action to transform your circumstances so that you feel better. Transforming negativity can be as simple as that. That's an example of internal conflict resolution, not involving anybody else, but just, in my case, dealing with my own issue about feeling cold. So there are so many ways that we can learn about ourselves, so many ways that we can transform negativity, and endless opportunity to resolve conflicts by being in relationship with ourselves and with other people. It just gets better, folks, doesn't it? So I wish you all the very best in dealing with and transforming all situations that arise for you, which enables you to transform and resolve any conflicts, and to realise that as a human being you are the success story which is going to spread out into the wider reality and transform the existence of many other species of being in the fullness of time. It all gets better. Thank you very much.